The easiest way to stay warm and save money is to visit dteenergy.com/saveenergy.
Hey, I can save on my energy bill just by wearing a sweater?
Just turn down your thermostat to 68 or below and dress warmly to save money and still be cozy. Easy, right?
Keep rugs off vents, open blinds when it's sunny? Well, that's easy.
Told you so. At dteenergy.com/saveenergy, you can learn even more. DTE.
Live across the Great Lakes State, you're connected to Michigan's most engaging and influential radio and television program, Michigan's Big Show, starring Michael Patrick Shields, presented by Blue Cross, Blue Shield of Michigan, and Blue Care Network.
I'm producer and creative director Tony Cuthbert.
Now in the shadow of the Capitol Dome in Lansing, he's heard from the beaches of Lake Michigan to the halls of power and behind closed doors. Here's Michigan's Michael Patrick Shields.
Michael Patrick Shields is on the air.
Good morning, world.
Good morning, Michigan. I'm Kyle Malin, editor of the MERS newsletter. Filling in for Michael Patrick this morning. Appreciate you joining us with Tony Cuthbert on the other side of the glass. Well, last week anyway, the Autism Alliance of Michigan announced the release of their Special Education Experience Survey report, where they took a look at the condition of educating children with autism compared to what was flagged back in 2015 when the Michigan Special Education Reform Task Force first took a look at the struggles or the challenges of teaching folks and kids with autism. But sadly, they found that in 9 years, there has been very little improvement in some very key areas. And joining us on the program to talk about that is the director of statewide education at Autism Alliance of Michigan. Her name is Heather Eckner. Thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
It had to be kind of troubling to go through this whole report and then get to the end and say, God, we really haven't seen a lot of improvement here.
Absolutely. We were hoping to find some, different results than that. We were hoping to see some improvements with things like parent engagement and families feeling like they're being meaningfully involved in their children's education and education planning. And the results that our survey found compared to when the Special Education Reform Task Force survey had been done really showed no improvement. And that was the whole intent of that Reform Task Force that former Lieutenant Governor Brian Cowley chaired, was to draw attention to things that needed to improve in the state. And when we look at the results of our survey, when we look at outcomes for students with disabilities in our state now, 9 years later, Michigan really is not doing any better than we were. And so we're calling for a sense of urgency for real change.
Now, this is based on a survey of what, children or parents of children with autism? Is that basically what you did?
It's a statewide survey of any parent caregiver with a child with a disability who in our state has been found eligible to receive special education services and support. So it's disability-wide, it's statewide, and it also included any individuals with disabilities who had gone through special education when they were students. So we tried to listen to both the experiences of students, individuals with disabilities, as well as their parents.
And you got, almost 900 respondents to this?
Yes, it was 890 respondents across the entire state. 193 cities in Michigan were represented. So we were really pleased with the strong response rate, and that gives voice to what these experiences highlight.
If you think about it, too, that's 9 years since you did the first survey. So, I'm sure there's some overlap with parents and children with autism and caregivers, but there's a lot of new people in this as well with, you would think, new experiences, but I guess not.
Absolutely. And again, that's what we wanted to see, improvement and change in what was reported, and we really didn't. And so that's part of our advocacy movement. We do the Autism Alliance of Michigan. We serve as a convener for a statewide special education coalition. So it was a lot of members of our network that helped with getting this survey out and the strong response rate. So you're right. There might have been some overlap with people that were involved 9 years ago and involved in this current survey, but it would also reflect new experiences as well.
51% of parents of K through 12 students with disabilities responded that their child's disabilities should have been identified sooner. So let's just start on that one. Identified by an education professional, by the school itself. I mean, parents have a role in this as well, right?
Parents do have a role. Parents often are the ones that, of course, know their children best and will have concerns that they'll raise to school personnel. But they're under the federal law that protects children with disabilities in education, which is called the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or known as IDEA. There's an affirmative obligation that school districts have. Every local school district has an obligation to locate, identify, evaluate kids suspected of having disabilities for the very reason that we don't want time to go by where a child being impacted by a disability in education doesn't get the help that they need. And so with that affirmative obligation in place, it's called child find. And so schools are supposed to find the children, and parents do play a role in helping to raise concerns, but it shouldn't fall entirely on the parents. That's an important part of what our survey found, is not only did the results show that parents believe their children were being identified later than they should, but parents were expressing that they're putting the advocacy expectation on families to drive this when it really should be school-driven.
So the governor signed bills into law earlier this year that require all K through 3 students to be screened for characteristics of dyslexia 3 times a year. Is that going to be helpful in screening for autism as well?
It won't connect as much to autism. The Autism Alliance, our grassroots coalition, was one of the main coalitions that backed these literacy bills that the governor signed. So we are very supportive and thankful that these went through. But it's an example of what you raised, of we need to have the right kinds of tools for educators in place to use valid, reliable measures that will catch or flag for potential concerns. And what that does is it helps then the school team to use that data to look more closely at the child and say, what's going on here, right? It doesn't diagnose anything, but it gives us an indication that there may be something happening or at play that is impacting their education. When the school team pursues that further and they consider, observations from the classroom, other sources of data, it can point them in the direction to say, we need to do a closer look, a deeper evaluation to make sure that we understand this child enough to meet their needs in the classroom setting.
We're talking with Heather Eckner, the Director of Statewide Education at the Autism Alliance of Michigan. We only got a minute left here, but could this new law be expanded to screening for autism at the same time as you're screening for dyslexia? Is that a possibility?
That's a really great question. There are different kinds of screener tools for different things. So there are some pretty rapid screeners for autism specifically, and possibly that could be something down the line that educators do use, sort of like a rapid checklist to see if there are observable signs of potential autism impact. And so, sure, we could look at those kinds of things because we're definitely calling for improved approaches to make sure that we are identifying as soon as possible. The sooner we can help kids to be able to access educational opportunities, the more we're going to be able to improve outcomes, which is what we're looking for in the state.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Heather Eckner, Director of Statewide Education at the Autism Alliance of Michigan. You're listening to Michigan's Big Show, starring Michael Patrick Shields.
Dreaming of a fun and affordable getaway? Breeze Airways can take you there. With Breeze Airways, you can fly direct from Lansing's Capital Region International Airport to Fort Myers and Orlando for just $79. What are you waiting for? Go to www.flybreeze.com or download the Breeze app to book your trip. Breeze Airways offers flexible and friendly policies, so you can always travel with peace of mind. Come and see why we were just awarded the 2024 Apex Award for Best Seat Comfort in North America. With Breeze, traveling from Lansing to fun, sunny Florida destinations has never been easier. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice. $79 no flex fare promotion is available only when booking a new reservation for LAN RSW, RSW LAN, LAN MCO, and MCO LAN. Promotion must be purchased by October 31, 2024, 11:59 p.m. ET for travel from September 24, 2024 through February 2, 2025. Price displayed includes taxes and government fees. Fare prices, fare classes, rules, routes, and schedules are subject to change or exemption without notice. Any changes or modifications to qualifying promotional reservations will be subject to fare repricing. The difference in airfare at the current fare price may apply. Other restrictions and blackout dates may apply.
Hey, there's Matt Rhodes here at Dusty's Cellar. It's Michael Patrick Shields with Fuzzy Math, as you know. I'm here for my October 6 for $66 wine club, and this looks like there's a little trick-or-treat headed our way.
Yes, Michael, as a thank you to all of our loyal wine club members, we're offering 7 for $66 for the month of October, and you get to choose your 7th bottle, being red, white, or rosé.
Do you have to be a member of the club to get the 7 bottles for $66?
You do not. This is a thank you to all our existing club members and for those who'd like to join the club.
Hey, that's a very nice invitation. So no cost to join the club, no ongoing commitments, discounts on everything you buy, wine, beer, all of it.
That's right. You got it, Michael.
I'm in for a club pack, and I think I'm going to get a gift card for a business client. How can they get redeemed?
That's the nice thing about our gift cards. They can be redeemed in the cellar, wine bar, or the tap room. Very versatile.
Oh, so they can go in the store or come on in for a drink or have dinner or lunch and that sort of thing too. And you can join me and Matt Rhodes at Dusty's Cellar. It's on Grand River in Okemos and online at dustycellar.com.
Cheers, Michael Patrick.
Election day is almost here, and your absentee ballot must be returned to your local clerk's office by 8 p.m. on Election Day. In House District 54, candidate Shadia Martini will champion the crucial issues that matter most to Michiganders, reducing burdensome costs for working families, and ensuring our roads and bridges are safe. Vote early or on Election Day for candidate Shadia Martini for House District 54. Paid for by American Energy Action Fund with regulated funds. Not authorized by any candidate committee. 1616 Stonebridge Road, Alexandria, Virginia, 22304.
Ugh, that better not be my ex. Oh, it's just a scammy text from a weird number telling me to log into my credit union account through a sketchy link. Deleted. Delete the toxic from your life, especially weird emails and texts. Credit unions will never ask for your login information, but scammers will. Scammers will pose as anyone from financial institutions to loved ones. Don't click on strange links and know who's really on the other end before you send. For more safety tips, visit tryacreditunion.com/cybersafety.